I started recording like this, and you're now, and if you like to, Esther, your heart again.
Thank you.
It's
okay,
recording, I think.
Excellent. Brilliant. Thank you. So, have we got some attendees there, Natasha? Natasha, can you hear me? Right, I'll make a start, and hopefully you've got some attendees. If not, we're recording this, so if you are unable to make this or you missed parts, then you can join in later and we'll share the link on Twitter. So this is our fourth 10% Braver chat with Women's Ed Vienna. This is our second one that's in English. So we have alternate ones that are in Arabic and then ones that are in English. So we are very, very fortunate to meet two lovely new ladies, which I'll introduce in a second. So we have today, I'm just going to talk through some of the what we're going to be doing today and some of the points about Women's Ed as well, just to recap. So if you're new to us or if you've just joined us, please write your name in the chat and what you want us to know about you as well, if you can. Please make sure the audio and camera have been turned off, which they should be. And please send messages as well. And if you tweet, please use the hashtag Women's Ed or Women's Ed Mena. And just to let you know that this will be recorded as well. And please follow us too. So just a little bit of a recap. We've talked about this before, but Women's Ed is a grassroots movement used to help empower, inspire, support, and create networks for women in education. So we have the 8 C's here, 9 C's even, and we will just talk you through some of them, but you'll be able to see this. And if any of you have read the Women's Ed 10% Braver book, there's lots and lots of information there as well. Really, really recommend that as well. So I'll let you have a look at this actually, because it's on there and you can see some of the sort of the values that we share at Women's Ed as well. And there's one that's missing, which we talked about, which was cake, and that's celebrating the achievements that we have we've done over the years and that we are going to do as well. So this is the book that I just mentioned earlier, 10% Brave, Inspiring Women to Lead in Education, and looking at the sort of the unbalance of women in leadership in education. And it starts with the premise of what would you do to make a change today if you were 10% braver? So it's coming from this, how can you be 10% braver in whatever it is that you're doing? So Women's Ed is the MENA region, which is the Middle East and North Africa. And we're just starting out and just rolling and getting some momentum going with these talks and meeting lots of women and men in the area and learning about what it is that people are up to and the kinds of things that other people can get involved in as well if they want to. So our mission fundamentally is to achieve a more equitable balance, and we're trying to do this through networking, through events, social media, and as I mentioned, asking everybody to be 10% braver. So I'm going to introduce you to our lovely ladies today, and what they're going to do is they're going to share some of their success stories about when they were 10% and also address some of the challenges that they may have faced or other women may face in education as well. So our presenters today, so we've got myself, who you would have met last time. I'm Esther. And then we've got Natasha as well, who you also met last time as well. So join us on Twitter, join us on Women's Ed. If you want to message any of us at any time, you can. And we'll hopefully see you this time and next time as well. All right, and these are our guests today. So huge welcome. We have Ermin, who's an English language teacher and teacher trainer in the UK. And she's going to talk a little bit about what she's been up to in her past. And then we've also got Iman, and she's also going to talk to us about what she's doing as well. So welcome. How are you both?
We're fine.
We're great, thank you.
So nice of you to join us, thank you. So, Marion, I'm going to put you on the spot because you're first, please. So please tell us a little bit about you, what you've achieved, and just
bit about your journey and your story.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Natasha and Rania, for this beautiful platform for us to speak out as women and as educators. So thank you again. So who am I? Right, the next slide, please. My name is Maya Min Altay, and in the Arabic pronunciation, it's Maya Min Altai, and Maya Min means power. And I was born with power, hopefully, okay? Originally, I'm Iraqi, but brought up in the UK. My BA, I got BA in English language, and I got my QTS at Bradford University, where I qualified as a teacher. Then I did my MA, which I will be talking about how I did it, which was in education technology, and my PhD, which I did in Leicester. And what made me 10% braver. Next slide, please. So I saw Muhammad Ali in 1983 when he came to Birmingham. I was a little girl. I remember going between the crowds and I literally touched his hand and he just patted him on the head, and I went and I started to follow this man. He's a champion, and I remember him saying, I'm the champion, I am B, and so on. He was so strong. So I wanted something that showed who I am. The quote that I liked was, to be a great champion, you must believe you are the best. Even if you're not, you need to pretend that you are, okay? So this is who I am. Next slide, please. So I had to pretend all my life to be strong because my schooling was not the normal way. If you can see the two little children, one of them is carrying a blue bag, you know, and the other one is carrying a purple bag. And the one who is carrying the purple bag is me. The other children would go normal way of education. So the normal way of going to from one year to the other in the same school, in the same city. For me, it wasn't, because my dad came to the UK to do his MA, PhD. So he had to, first of all, learn the language. So he stayed in a city. Then we moved to another city where he did his MA. Then I had to move into another city to do his PhD. Then I moved to another city to do where he got a job. So it wasn't an easy schooling for me. So from one year to another, I had to be a strong girl. I had to build my self-confidence. I had to build my personality to live in that new community, new society, new school, new culture. I would learn the new curriculum. But I was brave. I was brave to tackle this, to be there. And I had my voice. Since I was a little girl, I would stand out of the crowd and say who I am, even if I just started the school a day. Next slide, please. So I finished my BA did my BA, and I qualified as an English language teacher, where I taught in London. I was an English language teacher and I taught GCSEs. And GCSEs in the UK is years 10 and 11. So by year 11, the children get their GCSEs and then they can do their A levels. So I worked there for nearly a year, and then I went to see my dad. Because my dad, as I said, he moved around a lot because he was an English language teacher. So he did his PhD in English language and literature, and he worked in Jordan in the University of Irbid, where my husband was doing his master's degree. I met him, and as you know, being an Arab woman, we don't have relationships. We don't know the man until we marry them. So I got married in Jordan, and he was a stranger to me. So again, I had to be brave to understand, to accommodate my husband, to understand his personality. And at the same time, you have to understand my personality. So that was a very big thing for me, especially the different cultures. Okay, he was living in the Middle East, so his culture, I mean, it was my culture, but the mentality up there is different to the people who were brought up in the UK. So again, there was a big clash between me and him. But being a woman, you would give up a lot. And being an Arab woman taught me to be strong and forgiving. And you have to say, okay. And sometimes you have to give up a lot of things for that person that you love, which I did. I lived in Jordan, and I looked for a job, and I found a job, and I worked as an ESL, English language as a second, so English as a second language in Jordan, because they speak, the first language is Arabic. So I worked in, if you know Jordan, it's in the Dawar al-Khamis, it's around about number 5. And it was an international school. Well, they didn't have international schools in 1999, to be more precise. It was a private school, but it worked with the British Council. So I worked there as an English language teacher for a year. And again, I had to move because of my husband now. First of all, it was you are with a man and it was your dad, and wherever he goes, you go with him. And now you are married, wherever your husband goes, you go with him. So again, there was another thing that I had to understand or be brave, 10% more braver to accommodate somebody else now. And then again, to build myself all over again, wherever I went. Then I got a job in Dubai. Next slide, please. Where I became, again, an English language teacher, which is ESL in Dubai. Being a strong woman, I love teaching. Straight away, within a year, I became the head of English. And in international schools in the Middle East, in Medina, it's not you being a head teacher and looking after the curriculum. You have to go and buy the curriculum as well. So you would have people come in and bring their curriculum to you and say, these are the books, what do you think? And I have to look for software. And of course, in 2000, we had the smart boards. We started to have the overhead projectors and so on. So I was into this technology. One of the pioneers in the school. So we wanted our school to stand out from the other international schools in Dubai and get students coming, because it's a market. So we needed to market our school, and especially our English language department, where I started to use technology. I started to embed technology in teaching. Because I was so good, I was made into a senior leader, which I became an assistant head. And again, for 3 years, I worked as an assistant head, and I looked at curriculums, which was the science curriculums and so on, and we worked together as senior leaders. Then I had to move back to the UK because my husband got a job in the UK, and then it's moving again. Esther, thank you. So coming back to the UK, I had to start all over again. Now, from being a high school teacher, senior leader, and now to primary. Beautiful. I love primary, I love children. So I thought, okay, I might settle down a year and calm, understand the system, understand the culture of schools, because I've left schools now for 7 years. The UK has changed, everything has changed. Let me see what's going on. And it was different because in UAE, in Dubai, I had a maid. We had drivers, we had the luxury in the Middle East, but in the UK, you are the maid, you are the cleaner, you are the driver, you are everything. So I thought, okay, I'll go into primary and just take some classes and then slowly pick up the speed, and then until my children become at least into their primary school, and then I can climb the ladder all over again. But being me, Miami, I couldn't. So after a year of primary school teaching, I literally sat down with my husband. I said, I can't do it. I can't do this anymore. I can't be a primary school teacher. I have dreams. I want to work in the universities. I want to be a teacher trainer. This was my dream. And I feel that I have stopped. So we sat down and we said, okay, what do you want? He said to me, what do you want? This is something that a person should, or a woman should have somebody that she can trust and talk to. And she should somebody who can help her to build her ambition. I know sometimes you can't, but you try to talk about it to somebody. And my husband was my friend, touch wood, okay? So far, so good. He's my best friend so far. Okay, so we do have fights, that's true, but at least at the end we talk about it and we make it smooth as much as we can. So talking to him, I said, I want to do education. I want to go into education, and I want to look at English as a second language, which is TESOL. And then, so I started to look for proposals, and being self-funded, so I had to pay for my education to do my master's. I started to look for somewhere that I'd like to study, that I would like to learn from, and then I can use it later on to adapt it in my teaching. So there was a course in 2011. It was still brand new, and it's at Manchester University, and it was run by Gary Moultram. And it was MA in Education Technology and TESOL. So I thought, oh, I love technology and I love TESOL. That's the thing for me. So I started to study this, but it was in Manchester. And I was already teaching. I left the primary school and I started teaching in FE colleges, Calderdale College. And I was a cross college leader. So that means I had to look after the 16 to 19 at the same time, ESP, EAP students. Next slide, please, Esther. So I started to think, oh my God, can I do it? Can I do it? And then I thought of this, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of being different. Be afraid of being the same as everyone else. I didn't want to be the same as everyone else. I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to be something. So I said, okay, let me jump into the deep. I will get up in the morning, clean the house, get lunches ready, and I would drive to Manchester, which was 40 minutes from where I lived in Halifax, Calderdale, and then go and study and do something for myself. Okay, next slide, please. Which I did. I started and I said, okay, you're brave, you can do it, you can do it. And I would leave literally after I would pray the Fajr, which was around 4 o'clock in the morning in the UK, get into my car. And if you don't know the north of the UK, then every time you go further from the south, it gets snowy, gets hilly, becomes a nightmare when it comes to the weather. So living in a village, literally every morning, you have to take out your spade and try to dig out all the snow and move everything. That was what I did every morning. And I would get into my car, I would kiss my children, they were still in bed, kiss them, say goodbye to them, have got lunch for them ready, have got the dinner, so when their father brings them home, he just needs to just put it in the microwave or just heat it and they would eat. That's what I did on Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, where I worked and studied, and I did my MA in Manchester. If you have a look at the third picture from your right, I think it's my right, left, right to you guys, I don't know. So that picture where I'm sitting in the middle, they're international students. So they were studying ESP, EAP. So that's what I did. After I finished my course in the morning, I would go in the evening and teach ESP, EAP because I wanted to get into that field in university and I wanted to be recognized in the university in the field of higher education. Next slide, please. Thank you. So, loving technology, teaching. I would go into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday into college. I would teach my students embedding technology in teaching. So I'd teach English as an ESL, as GCSEs, so using technology in that. And then because I was a course leader, I would train my teachers. So, you know, the continuous professional development. So you're always there, CPDs, you're always teaching them. And embedding technology in teaching English was my love. Next slide. But it was never easy for me. It was never easy. I had 2 children and I had my husband. Being married to a Middle Eastern man, he demands a lot. Or being married to any man, to be honest, he demands a lot. So it wasn't easy. You felt like you were a single mom trying to do everything. And then I started to cry, literally started to cry, saying, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm doing my teacher training. I'm doing the teaching. I'm looking after the children. And I started to have a diary where I would write everything. So in the evening, I would sit down and I start writing, what am I thankful for? What have I done today? So I would say I'm thankful because one of my students passed, one of my students did this, my son has done, I've done this with my son, I've done this with my daughter. I have cleaned the house, literally, I've cleaned the house, my house is clean, everything smells nice, wash the clothes. So I'm happy for all these small things. So I started again, the next day I would feel happy because I wrote everything and I would continue with my life journey. And I moved on. So I continued teacher training and I started to work as an education prospect in a team in Education Prospect UK, where I worked as a teacher trainer for Ofsted, and we would go into GEMS and we'd look at the schools in MENA. So then I started to think, okay, you know, when you've done your BA, it's okay, but when you've done your master's, you're not a BA, you're not a PhD. So you're you're too qualified or you're not qualified. That's what it was when it came for me to look for jobs. So I started to think, okay, so I need to pursue my dreams and do my PhD in education. That means teacher training, embedded technology, and so on, which I did. While doing my PhD, I would teacher train, as you see in the pictures. Teachers, I would have teachers from MENA, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, Iraq. They would come to us, we train them at the University of Leicester. At the same time, I would teach my MA and my undergraduate English language, ESL English language. Next slide, please. So continuing teacher training. So continuing that teacher training, I've been doing teacher training for more than now 10 years. And it was always in MENA. It was always in the countries in the Middle East, which are settled. And in the UK, I went to Spain. I teacher trained in Spain. I teacher trained in European countries all over and in South America. So I thought, okay, what about my country? My country that has gone through one war to another war, and being married to a person who's from Mosul. So I had a house in Mosul. I would come and go and I would teacher train them. And then the war started in 2003. Then the other war that started in 2011. So I started writing about Iraq and talking about Iraq, and it was something new to the UK and to Europe and to America. People talking about Iraq, especially after 2003, and about education in Iraq, where I started to write about Iraq and what we were facing as teachers. Then came up the training with the British Council, the training with even voluntary. I would go literally, because I worked in schools, I worked in colleges, anything that teachers that didn't want at the end of the year, instead of throw them in the bin, they would put them in boxes and write Miami. And I would come literally take these boxes and put them in my car and then just take them back home to Iraq, which I did, to lots of PowerPoint presentation, projectors from memory sticks and so on. So I started to teacher train. The next slide, please. So I started to teacher train in Iraq, but in Iraq, it wasn't only teacher training. They have just come out of war. These people have lost husbands, have lost sons, have lost daughters, have lost houses, have lost everything. So I started to think about coaching and mentoring. I became a coach and a mentor. Well, it should be mentoring coaches, because it was all about mentoring these people, bringing them back to schools. Our schools were shut. Our schools were ruined. They were under a lot of debris, whatever you think of. So it was us working together as teacher leaders. That word leaders came, which was new to me as well, and I had to study about it, and then I wrote a paper about it in Belmas. Well, I understood leadership. Well, going to 2014, if you can show me the next slide, please. 2014, where I used to go and teacher train, and then 2014, where I ran away from ISIS with my children. I left the teacher training, I left the education in Iraq and Mosul, came back and saw the picture. You can see the school that I worked in, and another school that I teacher trained in, just full of, you can see gun bullets, and it's the desks and everything were outside. And we were bringing the children back to school because they knew us, then the community knew us as teachers, and they've trusted us. Going to the camps, if you can see the camps, bringing back the head teachers back to the city, bringing them all of these people back to the schools, trying to make them understand that education is important and we need to educate our new generation, or Iraq will stay as it is without educated people, and we will be still under ISIS or rebels, and we won't have a generation that are literate. And slowly, I started to convince these people, convince the Ministry of Education to look after Mosul, which now we are doing, and we are training these teachers as well. Bringing these children was not easy. Not easy being a woman in Iraq, was not easy being a person that has no name, has no money, going into the camps, telling these people, please come back. It was just from one person to another, because it was the trust that was the most important thing for us as teachers, to bring those people back. I trust you, you trust me, I'll bring the other one, which we did. In 2017, 2018-19, sorry, we started to bring back all the children in education. And 2020, where the problem began all over again, and the children could not go back to school, and trying to look for platforms to keep these children that were out of education from 2014 to 2017 back into education. So again, my teachers, my colleagues became so brave. They became out there going to find solutions, and through platforms, through social media, websites, anything they could find, and they started to teach these children in Mosul, Baghdad, and keeping them in at least 10% of their education, or keep them 10% with us in education. That was the most important thing for us. The next slide, please. So, as I said, teacher training and mentoring, like I said, I went out there, and I was there with my voice. This is what we need, people. Don't forget Mosul, don't forget education. And because of this, trying to get the education back in order in Iraq, they gave me what we call a Dara, which is a Medal of Honor for working with disadvantaged places, urban places, getting children back into education. So, and that was all voluntary, by the way, guys. I did not get a penny for this. It was me going there, trying my best to get the children back into school in Iraq. The next one, please. So the most important thing that I believe that made me braver 10% is having women like you guys around me, who helped each other, pushed each other, trusted each other, and we had faith. The most important thing is that we had faith in each other, trusting each other, and we believed in ourselves. So if you believe in yourself and you know you can do it, you can do it. That's the most important thing. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I'm in absolute awe listening to your story. You have achieved some amazing, wonderful, and inspiring things. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Miamin, I was like, oh my gosh, like you've done so much. It's absolutely amazing. What I just wanted to throw out there, if there was anybody in the audience that wanted to ask questions, please feel free to add them as questions. But I did have a bit of a question for you, Miamin. Is that okay?
Yes, go on.
So obviously you've had to work with women in like really challenging environments, actually, like the teachers that you've worked with, etc. And just if anybody was out there watching this, what kinds of things would you say you would need to do in order to provide them with support? Or, you know, where could they look? Because you've said social media. Is there anywhere specific? Is there anywhere that you advised, you know, the people that you've worked with, that any places they could look for support?
Brilliant question. Thank you, Natasha. I was asked that question 2 years ago when I was talking about coaching and mentoring at the University of London. And we had people from all over the world, and they were shocked to hear about Mosul in detail, because it was a platform about in Mosul in Iraq. And they asked me the question because they were all professors, and for me, I'm an early researcher when it comes to PhD. I just finished my PhD, by the way. And they asked me that question. I said to them, I have never read a book about leadership. I have never read a book about coaching and mentoring, but I've learned something when I came back home to the UK after seeing what was going on in Iraq. The first thing that came in my head when I was reading the papers from scholars about coaching and mentoring was the trust. The most important thing is that there should be a trust between you and the teacher. So that's the most important thing. And another thing is listening. You need to listen. when somebody that comes next to you and wants to talk to you, if you don't listen to them, it's you just talking, they won't say anything. But if you stop and just listen to them and just ask them a question and just keep on letting them talk and listen and listen and listen, you'll find out a lot of things. And then you can help them. Like you said, there are lots of things that you can, if you have problems with family, you can go to any charity. If anybody out there that's listening who's in Iraq, there are charities funds out there. There's education prospects. Please get in touch with us if you need any help when it comes to education, or you need you've got family problems. There are women out there they work with refugees. They work with people who need help. There are phone numbers that I can help you with. There are platforms, YouTube. There are YouTubes as well. You can go on YouTube for women's support. There are lots of places that you can just Google now has become our home. So just go online, write whatever you want, and you find everything out there. But
Yeah.
please, if you get stuck, please do email me.
Perfect, Jep. I think what we can do is when we post this on our YouTube as well, we'll put some of those links in that you give us, Miamin, and obviously they can also find you at your Twitter. What's your at, Miamin?
It's at Miami. That's what it is. It's at Miami.
There you go.
I know.
And I
You'll
have
find
one
it on our
more.
Twitter page as well, because we've got her Miami's profile on our Twitter page.
Oh, okay, perfect.
On our Twitter page, you can find out all the information about her, and her Twitter handle on there as well. So you'll be able to message her directly if you need any further information. Thank
I
you
think
so
if
much.
we move on to Iman, because bless her, she's been patiently waiting for us.
Welcome, Iman. How are you? Can you hear us? I think you're muted.
Overwhelmed with Miami and what she's done.
I know, she's amazing.
I know. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to say now? Like, I've got nothing.
Bless, no, you've all
Oh my God.
women. You are all wonderful women. Don't say that.
Oh
You
my
have-
God, ma'am, and
You need to
you've been
believe in
great.
yourself. That's the most important thing.
Thank you so very much for this inspiring story that you've just said. You've just empowered all of us, I'm sure, a little bit more. So we're now 20%, I think, braver instead of 10. Thank you so much for all this. So who am I? I'm Iman. I'm Sudanese. I don't know. Let's see. Well, I haven't prepared anything. I'm not very good with preparation. I know being a teacher, it's good to have things prepared, but I always just prepare for the sake of my teacher trainers to see it, and then that I don't do it anymore. I don't really prepare. And that could be a disadvantage, but I think it's also what makes me so successful with my students and with my audience. It's just that I'm just raw. I'm just the way I am, and I am I'm Sudanese, but I don't belong anywhere, right? So I feel that I'm an international person. I love everyone. I love every place. I feel that every bit of this earth is my home. And I think that's due to, just like you, Miami, I have been traveling since I was a baby. So my parents went to Austria when we were very little. So my actual first language was German, which I don't speak anymore, by the way. Forgotten it totally. My parents are both physicians, so they're both doctors, and we went back to Sudan after, I think, when we went to Austria, I was 3 or 2, something like that. We went back to Sudan when I was 11. So German was my only language. It was my only place that I've always known. So I went back to Sudan, and it was very challenging. I had to learn a new language. I had to learn a new, very difficult language, which is Arabic. And I had to learn English as well, because for some reason, it seems that other countries learn 2 languages. In Germany, in Austria, we only learn German. There is nothing else, right? So yeah, that was a huge challenge, and I think I got through it. But after 6 months of being in Sudan, we then moved again to Saudi Arabia. And we moved to Saudi Arabia, and we moved to a very rural place. It's in the south, and there was not even a private school there. All the schools were public schools, and public schools were fine. They were great. I loved them, but they were in Arabic, and I didn't speak any Arabic, and I only like barely spoke some Sudanese that I just learned about 6 months of being in Sudan. Now I have to learn a new dialect and to read and write. But thank goodness there was no English. And that was really good. So we started learning English when we were in middle school, which was year 7, I think now, which was very funny because I thought that I was the most proficient person in English. I didn't speak a word because I was very, very fortunate to know the alphabet, because the alphabet is different in Arabic than it is in English or in all the Western languages. So I was the go-to girl on how to write the alphabet, and the little things I think that made me feel that I was amazing. I knew I was the best, as just like what you said, Mayamin. I was the best at English. I only knew the alphabet, but that was, I was the best. Nobody else knew them, right? And that made me very popular. People came to me to do their homeworks for them, which I didn't. But it gave me a lot of self-confidence, and I wanted to know more, and I wanted that feeling of being liked and being loved and being different and special. And so I started listening to music and watching TV and watching, I think it was NBC One, just started with Pops and Tops, something like that. That was far away from now. That was a long time ago. And I started listening to Backstreet Boys. If you guys listen, I'm really grateful for Backstreet Boys because they made me, a different person. I'm really grateful for them. And then I moved on from Backstreet Boys to rap music, which was very difficult because I was still a beginner at this. I think I wasn't a beginner. I was a little bit of a upper elementary level, and I wanted to be even better and better. So I started to listen to rap music, and who else than Eminem to listen to at that time, for the language. It was just like that. So that's how I learned the language. I learned through watching Friends and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Ally McBeal and stuff like that made me actually learn the language. Then I fell in love. I fell in love very, very early on. Very early on. I think I was 16 at that time. Yes, I was 16. So our parents were against it. They were like, no, you guys are not going to get married or get engaged. You're just kids. What do you know about love? And we insisted and we waited. And then finally we got engaged. Then we got married, and I was still in university. I went to university in Sudan, and that was very brave because I am Sudanese, but I had nobody there. I mean, only my 2 uncles lived there, and everybody else was in Canada or in other places. But no, there was nobody in Sudan. And I wanted to go to Sudan because my fiance was there, and that was the only reason I wanted to go to Sudan, just to be with him in the same country. And I think that was very brave. I don't know if it was brave or reckless, but it was, one of them. So it's you don't know that it's brave at the time. You don't know that it's, when these things happen to you, they just happen, and you don't really know until you just take a step back and you look at the things from another perspective. When you're inside the event, you don't really see it that clearly. So I got married, then I got a child. When I was still a child, I was 22 at that time, and I studied English. I studied English and linguistics, University of Khartoum, one of the most prestigious universities in Sudan. And not one, it was the most prestigious university in Sudan. And I did really well. And then we traveled. We went to the USA, which was, as you said, ma'am, and that was different because I didn't have anyone. I was the maid. I was the driver. People will be like, oh my God, that's normal life. But no, that wasn't. I had 2 maids when I was in Sudan. I had a driver. I had everything, done for me. But being a mom with I had 2 little girls by that time that are below the age of 2, and having to do everything myself, and being far away from family, from support, in a very cold place, where it's very, very dark all the time in Seattle. That was very difficult. I mean, being in America was not glamorous at all. Being in America was dark. It was something that I had to go through to understand how really strong I am and how I can actually do things myself, right? And I did, and I went through hell and back, and then I rose again, and I started, looking for a job, and I got a job in education. It was a kindergarten with my kids, but I loved it, and I started doing my MA in child care and daycare management, because I was thinking, okay, well, I'm going to go back to Sudan and I'm going to open up my own daycare. And that was great. And then we went back to Sudan and everything went south because things were not, the way that we thought it would be. Everything went horribly wrong. But there was a silver lining. I got a job at a very prestigious school. It's the prestigious school again. I didn't look for it. The job found me. And I started as a teacher. And that was my actual first real job, like an actual job that I would actually get paid to do as an ESL teacher. And I told them, I was like, but I don't really have any, I was an ESL student, but I was never an ESL teacher. I don't know how to do that. But they said, well, it's okay, you're going to learn. And I did, and I learned, and I was the best. And I got a scholarship, and I went to the British Council, and I got the CELTA. I got trained to be a teacher, and I did so well. I got a B, which was, phenomenal. Nobody got a B. Everybody got a pass. Who are you? Why would you get a B? And then the British Council would be like, no, you have to teach for us now. And I wanted to teach for my school as well. So I actually worked 7 days a week. Instead of not working at all, now I have suddenly, I worked 7 days a week with my 2 kids and the support of my family. My in-laws, because my family was still in Saudi Arabia at that time. My in-laws was amazing. But, this is a very good story to listen to, but, to live it, to actually live it, to actually have 2 children and work 7 days a week full time was a nightmare. It was a nightmare, but I had to do it because I had to learn. And I had to just, prove myself and prove to myself what I could do. My mother-in-law supported me. She was like, you know what? Don't worry about the kids. I've got the kids. You do your thing. And I'm sure if it wasn't for her and for her support, I would not have done it. I wouldn't have been brave enough to do it. And that brings me back to the point that, no matter how brave you are, you still need that support. You still need that people that support you. And you know what, if they're not there, find them, look for them, actively look for support. Support does not have to be your immediate family. It could be a friend, it could be a neighbor, it could be anybody, but you've got to look for that support to to allow yourself to become braver, because being brave is actually sometimes a luxury that you have to grab, you have to take. It's not just giving to you. It's not just from inside. It's actually also from the outside. So I did. Fast forward many years. Many years later, you know, I did really well. Everything was great. Everywhere I went, I got a job, because you know, we traveled a lot with my husband's work. We traveled a lot. We're like every year or two would be in a different country, and I would get a job before he does, you know, just like that. Just being in a British Council International House, Amiris, just like that. Then I decided that I'm tired, and schools wanted to hire me as well, and I was tired for working for people. And I decided to work for myself. And that's when I got into social media, which is a game changer. Things changed. And I started teaching online. I started becoming an influencer. Why do I say I'm an influencer? Because I do influence people's lives. I am not that brand thing, like, here, buy this or buy that. No, I actually influence people's lives. And I discovered that we really need, in Sudan, with Sudanese women, we really need that empowerment. Because yes, a few are very successful, but that's what, 10% of people. The majority is not. The majority is living in inhumane conditions, who have no support whatsoever, and they need to learn and they need to be empowered. So I started doing that. I started going on live. I started conducting interviews with people just like this, you know, to empower people and, you know, to find solutions for things. I started to look for lawyers, for representatives, for just by networking. You know, network is great. That's why I was so happy to be invited here. Network is really great. And the more you're out there, the more people trust you. And that goes back again to what you said, Maimin, that trust is key. People, you know, to gain people's trust is not very easy. But then when you have it, it's a big, huge responsibility that you actually have to work to continue having it, you know, to not lose it. It's not that easy. So it made me work really hard to do so. And at the same time, I was working on my YouTube channel. I was working on my online portfolio and all that. And then something unexpected happened at the end of 2018. And that's when you see this picture that I've got. This is the only thing that I gave you, only a picture, one picture, which is me wearing our traditional tobe. It's called a tobe. And it's very similar to the saris. If you guys know the saris, they're very similar to them. A little bit of a different texture and not as long, right? And this is a white tobe that I'm wearing. And this is because of what happened in Sudan. I think a lot of people heard of what happened in Sudan. The end of 2018, a huge revolution started. Thousands of people died, and a lot lost everything. A lot lost everything. And we were not in Sudan, we were here. And that was even harder because, you know, when you're there, you're just out there with people. You're in the streets, and in Sudan we have a saying that it's موت الجماعة عرس, which means, you know, when you're together, you die together, that's fine, you know, but when you're alone, you're actually dying every day, every minute, that you're not there, you're not able to support people. But at the same time, there is nothing you can do. There is literally nothing. You can only be going on, you know, cheering them and praying for them and collecting money. That's all that you can do. So I was too angry to do only that. So I got online again, and I started just talking to them. And for some reason, people wanted to listen. And for another weird reason, some people in some kind of news broadcast saw me and they wanted to have me there and wanted me to talk about politics, which was very weird because I'm not a politician and I know nothing about politics. Like prior to what happened in Sudan, when I was involved in it, all I cared about was people's rights. Okay, people have the right to have freedom of speech. People have the right to live a decent life. And you have been here for so long, so just go away. That's all I knew, right? And now people wanted me to go out there and on international TV and speak about politics, which I knew nothing about. I was never a politics person. I would never. I mean, I remember when I was a little girl and my dad would turn on the news. I would be so disgusted with it. I hated hearing the news theme song. That was, to me, was, oh my God, this is the time where we hear bad news. So I was so hesitant. I was like, what do I know about politics? Why would I want to go? And I asked everybody around me, and many people were like, don't go. You're only going to humiliate yourself. You know nothing. What do you know? What are you going to say? And why do they want you? Why didn't they ask somebody who, I mean, there are so many Sudanese women who are famous for being on, for being politicians, right? They might be doctors and politicians, writers and politicians, and they have been in talks before. Why come to me? I'm a nobody. I'm just a person. I'm just a normal person. And some people said no, they want you. They want a normal person. They do not want a politician. They want a normal citizen to talk about what citizens know and what citizens want. So I was very hesitant. And again, my husband supported me. He supported me through a lot. Yes, we do fight, as you said, Marianne, all the time, but he's a good support system for me. So he supported me and he said, just do it, you know, just do whatever you want. Just, you know, whatever you want to do, just do. And, you know, regret later. Just do it now. So I did. I went to, it was Al Arabi news station. And you know what? This was not my first time on TV. I have been on TV several times before. Tens of times before. This was not my first time on TV. It wasn't like I was scared of being on TV or anything. No. I was scared of being in a politics talk show on the news with politicians and talk about what my people want and what women want in Sudan. I felt that I was going to be talking about Sudanese women, not a Sudanese woman. So that was a huge responsibility. And I wrote down, I don't write things down. As I told you, I don't write things down. I don't prepare. But then I did. I made so many phone calls and I prepared and I wrote things down. And I started to, you know, try to memorize what the huge amount of information that they've given me about, you know, why the white tobe and where it came from and what it represents and what people, you know, wanted now and the terms that you need to use. You know, don't use this term, don't use that term, because this term refers to this kind of tribe in Sudan. You want to be talking about everybody. You want unity. So it was just too much. Okay, and I had no time. It was all of this was made in like 7 hours. I had no time. So I started memorizing what I got, and I went there and I forgot it all, of course. I did not remember any word of what I have prepared. So I just started talking from the heart. And people loved it. My father actually sent me he didn't know, he was surprised. He sent me a text. And I think what my dad said to me, because you know how Middle Eastern men are in their emotions. They don't really show your emotions. They love you, but they don't really show your emotions. And my dad said to me that I have never been prouder of you, and I would, if I die now, I will die a happy man. And this just made me feel like, okay, that's it. That's it. I don't need anything else from this world. So, but again, being on social media, a lot of people have countered back and said, why? Why would she do that? Who is she? She doesn't know anything what she's talking about. She's not professional in what she's been doing. She's talking very vaguely, and she should not have done that, and she should not have done this. And it did get to me. It did get to me because I did feel that, okay, why are they attacking me? I haven't said anything wrong. All I said that, yes, we demand freedom, and this is what we want, and we're not going to stop until we get it. And this is the actual big picture that everybody was doing. But politicians, they want the wordings to be exactly as they want it. So it did get to me, and I felt that I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to, be safe in my own home without having to be on camera and being judged by millions of people. And it's not easy to be on social media. People think it's easy, but it's not. You go through a lot. You go through a lot as a teacher. You go through a lot as a person, as a mother, as a citizen, as like whatever you present yourself as, whatever you go as, you are going to be judged, and you're going to be judged harshly. There are going to be lots of people who love you, but hate is always stronger. Hate is always, it gets to you. It gets to you. And I had to learn to not let it get to me, and I had to learn to be brave. And again, I did it because of the support group that I have, my friends and my family, and even my kids. They were very brave. They wanted to contribute, and they've made some videos as well about the Sudanese revolution. And I think what that single act of bravery from me has eventually opened the doors for me to be more out there, to just put myself out there and do the things that I wanted to do for a long time, to have my own education platform, teach people the way I want to teach them, and empower them the way I want to empower them, and help them the way I want to help them, and influence them in the right way that I see fit. And I think I've just started to do that. So I'm just starting.
Thank you. Yes, definitely another example of being 10% braver. Wow, that was an amazing sort of leap that you took to do that, personally and professionally.
Thank you.
So wow, that's really inspiring. I'm a bit in awe of both of you. But I like you said, I love being surrounded by women, being honest, like, wow, this is amazing, you're inspiring, and your stories. And I think what's touched me is that you deal with all of this while dealing a lot of things that women are doing, like just generally the struggles of being a woman, raising children, being a wife, doing all the things that you need to do as well. But I think we all come to points when it's like it's easy just to say, you know what, I'm not going to do it. You kind of give me examples of just powering through and being like, no, you know what, I want to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to find a way, even if it's scary, even if it's difficult, even if I don't get anything from it. So it's no self-gratification. You're putting yourself on, out there with other people, and that's really, really, really inspiring. So thank you so much for sharing your stories. Thank you, Esther. If you've got any questions or you've got any from your end?
No, I have a few questions, and some of them will be going to you as well, Mayamin, but because I wanted to kind of move on to Iman as well, and I didn't want to keep her whole waiting there. But you guys have spoken really inspirationally about what you've done, etc. But have you come across any I suppose, points where you felt like there was failure, there was this point where you were at the bottom, and how did you kind of get out of that? Because I think that, you know, both of you have said you're lucky enough to have husbands there that are really supportive and have been there to kind of be a backbone to you. And you know, Mayama, you explained your husband as your best friend. And Iman, you explained having that network of people around. But when you were kind of at rock bottom or feeling like you were failing, how did you get out of that situation? Because I know a lot of women are kind of in that situation. How do you get out of that? What do you do? What's your go-to?
You know what? That's a very good question, because when you are, you know, when you're failing, and failing is, you have to define what failing is, right? So failing is giving up. This is failing, because you never fail. You never fail, because it only ends when you give up. When you stop, that's when you actually fail, right? Because, you know, babies fail all the time. To get up, right, to walk, because they get up and they fail, and so they fall, right? But if they've stayed where they are, then that's when they've given up, and that's the actual failure. Other than that, it's not failure, it's just, you know, little bumps. So I think defining and actually knowing what failure is key, and that is something that I think I have learned early on. And I think I started to actually learn it when I was in Seattle, in America, because I felt like a failure. Like, I didn't know how to wash dishes, right? I would literally, you know, wash dishes for 5 to 10 minutes, and then my back would be killing me, and I would just, you know, lay on the floor and cry. And I'm like, I want to go home. Why am I washing dishes? Why is this so difficult? Why does life have to be so hard? But you know what? I got up from that, from the floor, and I had to, because if you don't, then you just stay there. What's your alternative? Sometimes I feel that people need to know their why. Why are you doing this? You know, if you've got a strong why in life, you have to get up. You have to, you know what, just stay on the floor and cry it out, finish it up, you know, get it all out, all that negativity, get it out. But then remember your why. Why are you doing this? You have to love yourself enough to try again, and then try again until you do it. But you know what? You also have to be smart, because you need to understand that it's not only hard work, but it's smart work that will get you to where you want. You know, don't try to do things the hard way, do it the smart way. So always delegate, and always find ways to help yourself and care for yourself, because you are the most important person. For you is you. Nobody else can help you, because you would never allow people to help you if you don't love yourself enough.
For me, the ways that I dealt with it is like Iman said. The way I dealt with the first one was when I was doing my MA and then PhD, and trying to juggle, like you ladies said, being a mother, being a teacher, a trainer, and trying to study as well. So it's very hard for me. Literally, I sat down and I started crying. I cried, and then I said to myself, let me write down, what are the things that I'm thankful for today? Oh no, there were small things like, I'm thankful that I'm in good health. I'm thankful that my children are happy. I'm thankful that I'm there for them. I was thankful for clean clothes. The house smelled nice. I'm making sandwiches, you know, those small things. And then I wrote down, what do I want? What do I want for myself to be better, to be happy? And I said, the things that I want is, for example, to finish this, to do this, to do this. And I wrote down the things. So writing these small things. I know, being a teacher, you have a list, and then there's a do list to do the list. I know, yes. We've done this. I remember having 5 lists to do, the first list, the second list, the list, to do all the lists. But sometimes when you go back to this list and you laugh, oh God, I forgot to do this and I forgot to do this. These small things makes you happy. The second one is when it was in 2014 when I had to run away from the ISIS in Mosul. My husband was in Turkey and he had our passports with him, which was, we're lucky he got us papers to prove that we were British. And I fled with my 2 children in literally a lorry. So I got there to my husband in 2014 and I was crying that I left all my friends back in Mosul, which were, some of them were beheaded because they didn't want to teach that the ideology of the ISIS, which I need another platform to talk about what we had to teach in ISIS. And I cried saying that I left them and I'm not doing anything for them. That's not fair. I should be there with them. I should be teaching with them and so on. But my husband was saying, no, you can do something here in the UK and prepare yourself when you go back, which I did, which I had my voice heard from in Baghdad, telling them what was going on in Mosul, spoke to people here in the UK, telling them what was happening in Mosul. 2017, when the ISIS left, I had a long list that I was going to do, which I did. Like I said, it was voluntary base. I was not scared. I went into the refugee camps. Although my husband said that he can't go with me because he was a man, just in case they caught him and put him in prison. But as a woman, I went in and I don't care what happens to me. I went in there. I saw the head teachers that were with me when I was teaching. I went into the camps, got them out of the camps, brought them back. So I was grateful that I went back to Iraq in 2017. I was grateful that I did something that I cried for in 2014. So that's the things that made me a bit more happier or braver or much more better.
It's amazing. It feels like this is way more than 10% braver from you ladies, when you're talking about your stories. It's absolutely amazing. The other thing that's coming up for me a lot is you guys are talking lots about your families, and I suppose the other question from my perspective is, how do you feel like you are balancing that? You're balancing your family, your work, you know, being a wife, all of that. How are you? I mean, are you just juggling? Are you spinning plates? How is that going?
I'm gonna make you laugh, Natasha. Now, you and Esther and Iman and the participants that are out there. I have, being a mother, a teacher, I have a list. I write everything that I do, and then I just, you know, tick it. I've done, and so on. So I felt so tired, exhausted, and then my husband said to me, "You need to go to the doctors." And I said, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna. There's something wrong with me." I went to the doctors and I sat down with him, our GP, and I said to him, "Doctor, I'm really tired and I'm exhausted. I think you need to give me some vitamins or anything like that to keep me up." And he said to me, "Okay, tell me what you do. What do you do? What do you do every day?" So I said to him, "Okay, I wake up at 6 o'clock. I pray, then I clean the house, iron if anything I need to iron, cook everything that I need to be cooked for the evening meals, sort anything that I need to sort, and then get the children." I know I have a husband, but it's you, the mother, who is the one who's taking the children to school, bringing them back. So I go and take the children to school, then I go and teach for 3 hours, 4 hours, standing on my feet, marking, come back home, get the children, feed the children, take the clothes, wash them, put the children in bed, clean everything. He looked at me, said to me, "And you're still alive?" I said, "Yes, I'm still alive." He said to me, "You don't need nothing. Get up. There's nothing wrong with you. Go."
Oh my God.
You need sleep.
That's literally what he said to me. "What you need is, I want you to do just one thing." He wrote on, those prescription papers. He put "me" in capital letters.
Time.
Me time. And I said to him, "Where am I going to put this me time?"
To your husband.
My schedule. There is no place for me.
Me time, where? I don't know what me time is. It's so hard, but you have to do it. You're a mother, you have to do it. You're a teacher, you have to do it. It's you. If you literally, now my children are not babies anymore, they're teenagers. My daughter is 20 and my son is 18, and both of them are in uni. And on the stairs, we know when you take the laundry out and you put them on the stairs, and they stay on the stairs. Nobody picks them up. And you just, come on, for God's sake, somebody pick them up, somebody do that. And you're still doing it. And you're doing it without thinking sometimes. You just, okay, I have to do it.
They step over it.
Yeah, they don't
My
care.
husband steps over it, to be fair.
I like the step. They kick it down the stairs.
You're like, "But did you not want to take that upstairs as you're walking upstairs?
Oh, is
I
it
didn't
mine?
even know it was there. It's
Is it
invisible to
mine?
me."
Is it mine? Are you sure?
Then you're getting into an argument over whose it is, and it's like, it doesn't matter whose it is. It still needs to go upstairs
Just
anyway.
take it
Just take
upstairs
with you.
already.
Sounds like we're all having the same conversations in our own houses.
Yes.
Never ends.
I think my most important my most important blessing that and the person that wants me to stay in the Middle East for as long as possible is my beautiful Samira. She was our house help, and I think this is kind of delegation. I've delegated everything to her that has to do with the house. That has to do with me. The kids have got to do their things. She's not there to help the kids. She's there to help me. So they fought that for a while, but now they've got nothing else to do because if they don't do their things, they don't get done, and then they get grounded. So, being just the question is, how do you balance? There is no balance in life. There is no way that you can get a balance. It cannot happen. What do you want? You want balance? You have to become a movie star and make a movie that there is balance. But in real life, there is no balance. What you have got to deal with is reality and prioritize. What is more important right now? Because life is not always, I'm sure when your kids are teenagers, their care is not important right now. Okay, this is not your priority. They can take care of themselves. But when they were little, when they were toddlers, okay, your priority was your little kids and their care time. You have to take care of them. You have to shower them. You have to bathe them. You have to cook for them. You have to clean them. This is your priority right now. But your priorities change from time to time. So you've got to figure out what your priority is. I believe that there is no such thing as time management. Time cannot be managed. Okay? Time is something that you don't have to manage. It's not money that you can manage. Time is not money. All right? I don't know, maybe a lot of people will disagree with me, but this is because I've tried time management. It didn't work for me. It did not work. When I tried to manage my time, that was a lot of time taken away from my time that I don't have to manage my time. So I've decided that I would not manage my time, but I would delegate as much as I can and prioritize what is urgent and what is important and what is more important and when it is, right?
I think that's really good advice for everybody out there, to be fair, and not feeling like everything should be perfect or because you can't put it all into a box, and absolutely, in terms of your priority list does change over time. And spending time trying to manage your time is a waste of time half the time. So
Yes,
absolutely. And then I suppose the last question, just to finish off with both of you, is kind of like, what are your next steps? Where are you going? Where are you going now? Where are we? What's the next chapter?
For me, it's still teacher training in Iraq now, because due to COVID-19, again, we had a problem with education. So we are trying to build platforms for students. So we started to work with the Ministry of Education, hopefully to teacher train teachers on how to use online resources, how to use online platforms, and to keep the children in school, in education, just in case if anything happens, like another war in Iraq or another pandemic like the COVID-19. And when it comes to here in the UK, I've got a job somewhere. I will tell you later on. I have signed the contract.
Yeah, great.
I've signed the contract yesterday. That's it. Do you remember when I was talking, I think 2 days ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm very curious.
Yes. And so I've signed the contract. Until everything is settled, I'll tell you.
Congratulations.
I'm there. Okay. So hopefully it will go well for me. And then I have other consultancy that I'm working with friends One of them is the gems, but I'm not sure yet about the gems as well. So it's there, but I need to sort this first job out, then I can go to the consultancy side. So that's me. The two children are in uni, so I don't know if I can leave them. I'm trying my best. I'm going to be a strong, brave woman and go and do what I want outside the UK.
If you don't leave them, they'll leave you.
Yeah, I'm going to write.
So,
I'm going to take that. Being 10% braver and going and flying.
Yep.
That's my motto now.
Imani?
For me it's I'm still working on my, I just started this online classes just before the pandemic. It's going really, really well. So I'm trying to expand it, and I'm working on, actually, because I do it live now. But what I want to do is next is to actually record some courses to sell them, and that's how I can get something called passive income that I think everybody needs to think about. Especially being teachers. We don't really think about our passive income. We only think about the income that we get right now, and people need to think about that, okay? Because only business people and investors are the people who get to have financial freedom when they're older. And for us, employers and self-employed, even, we only work for money. Time equals money. You work equals your income. But the others, the business people and the investors, they work effort equals money, right? So you do a lot of effort, there is no income, then your result will bring you passive income or residual income. So this is what I'm working on right now. I'm trying to write my curriculum, my syllabus, and try. It's a lot of work. It's going to take me, I'm thinking more or less 12 months to do something like this. But I might not have any job, and I might be broke, but I'll do it so I can enjoy the financial freedom afterwards. And I think that's going to be, very brave of me as well.
Sounds very good. Yeah, you're investing in your future. So
I am.
very good. Thank you. I'm not sure where Natasha's gone. I think we're good. Got any more questions from any of the audience, Natasha?
Have I come back?
Yes, you have. We've got you.
Oh,
now.
good. Yeah, no questions. Oh, no questions from the audience. I think my screen keeps going off. Sorry, ladies.
I've got lots of comments from my friends. They could not get into. They couldn't participate because of the links. There's something wrong with the link. People from Iraq, teachers in Iraq, they couldn't get the link.
Well, what I can say is this has been recorded, and what we've got on Twitter as well is we'll just put we've obviously got your Twitter handle, and if anyone has any questions or wants to ask you anything or contact regarding anything said on here, then you'll be available. Really sorry about that. I'm not sure what's happened along the line, but I just want to say a huge thank you. I'm just going to wrap up here and just say a few things on here before we finally say goodbye. So a huge thank you, because I think we can all say you've definitely been examples of being 10% braver, being game changers, and just being fantastic role models. Our stories are our superpowers, and you are definitely super. So thank you for sharing that with us. Just to reiterate about being 10% braver, these are just some of our events that are coming up. So we have got obviously more Twitter chats coming up. We've also got a book club, and hopefully in the future, as soon as COVID is starting to reduce around the world, we'll be able to meet up and have some podcasts as well, and get to meet people in the flesh and really get to talk to more wonderful women like you as well. So this is our book club. We're reading this book at the moment, Rainbow Troop, which is an Indonesian author. And we're going to have a session on the 24th of August. So please share this with your friends. We'll put the links, work this time, put them on Twitter, and people can link in and share with that. So please share that with people that you know as well. And join us if you haven't already as well on our social media sites. Thank you, ladies, so much for your time and for your stories. And it was wonderful to meet you and to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thanks,
guys for
ladies.
having us.
Thank you guys. Thanks everyone. Thank you
Have a
for
good
being
evening.
here. Thank you for participating and for all the audience and for all of you and for Women Ed and for the thought, you know, the thought that counts, and you are changing lives. You are changing the world every time you have a little teeny tiny drop of impact on people. So thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks,
Appreciate
ladies.
it.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Bye.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.